Welcome to this explainer on what is, without a doubt, one of the most unbelievable military operations ever attempted. We are talking about a time when British intelligence literally used a dead body to trick Adolf Hitler. Today, we're not just going to cover the play-by-play of what happened. We're going to break down exactly why this wild, elaborate deception actually succeeded when the stakes literally could not have been higher. I mean, seriously, think about that for a second. It sounds exactly like the plot of some Hollywood spy thriller, right? But in 1943, a carefully orchestrated deception involving a corpse absolutely changed the course of World War II. The sheer audacity of the operation is fascinating all on its own, but the real brilliance, and the whole reason it actually worked, was in its flawless psychological execution.
So, let's jump right into part one, the impossible problem.
To really get why they even attempted this massive deception in the first place, we have to look at the terrifying strategic dilemma staring the Allies in the face in early 1943. After beating German forces in North Africa, the next move was obvious. Actually, it was a little too obvious. Whoever controlled Sicily controlled the gateway to mainland Italy. The problem? Hitler knew it was the logical next step, too. He had heavily reinforced the island with troops, artillery, and aircraft. It was a deadly bottleneck, and a direct invasion could cost tens of thousands of Allied lives.
So here's the crucial point. British intelligence couldn't just fool a couple of spies on the ground. To save those lives and secure a foothold in Europe, they had to successfully manipulate the entire Nazi high command. They needed Hitler himself to believe, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the invasion was happening entirely somewhere else. Which brings us to part two, crafting Major William Martin. The outrageous solution proposed by British intelligence was this. Let's drop a dead officer carrying fake secret invasion plans directly into enemy hands. The origin of this incredibly massive lie was actually very small and quiet. It began with Glyndwr Michael, a forgotten man who tragically died in London after unknowingly eating rat poison. Because his body was unclaimed, British intelligence secretly obtained it. His real identity would remain classified for decades, but his physical form became the absolute blank canvas for this operation. And right here is where we get to the core of why Operation Mincemeat succeeded. Because, look, you can't just dress a body in a uniform, throw it in the ocean, and expect the Nazis to buy it. They had to build a flawlessly convincing, deeply human legend around him. So Glyndwr Michael was meticulously transformed into Major William Martin, a completely fictional Royal Marines officer. The real genius of this forgery lies in the sheer mundanity of the items stuffed into his pockets. Spies call this pocket litter. They gave him theater stubs, love letters, a photo of his so-called fiancée, and, this is my favorite part, an angry bank overdraft notice. This is exactly what provided the psychological realism necessary to make his fake life convincing. Real people have flaws, right? They go out to the theater, they lose their keys, they overdraw their bank accounts. By including that overdraft notice, they made his fake life perfectly credible to any suspicious German analyst who ended up looking at the body. All right, moving on to part three, the Spanish connection. So, with their perfect forgery completely assembled, the operation moved to its most vulnerable phase. A masterfully crafted identity means absolutely nothing if the target doesn't take the bait. The British loaded Major Martin into a submarine, traveled silently to the coast of Spain, and released the body into the water. But this naturally raises a huge question. Why Spain? Why not somewhere much closer to Germany or Italy? Well, the answer is that it was a brilliantly calculated risk, one that practically guaranteed success. British intelligence knew that while Spain was officially neutral on paper, Spanish authorities routinely leaked information straight to the Nazis. Dropping him off the coast of Spain meant the body would be found by supposedly neutral parties, which made the discovery look like a genuine, tragic accident of war rather than a staged British plant. Now watch how perfectly this builds. The sequence executed flawlessly. Before dawn on April 30, 1943, the submarine releases the body. Local Spanish fishermen find the corpse a few hours later. The authorities recover the briefcase. And then, exactly as British intelligence predicted, the documents inside are secretly photographed and passed straight to the Germans, creating an unbroken chain of custody right into the hands of enemy intelligence. The entire payload of this mission was tucked inside that briefcase chained to his wrist. It contained top-secret letters that specifically redirected Nazi attention toward Greece and Sardinia. The documents falsely claimed the Allies planned to completely bypass Sicily, positioning it as nothing more than a diversion tactic.
And here is an absolute masterstroke of why this whole thing succeeded. To add the final layer of authenticity to the con, the British didn't just sit back and stay quiet. No, they practically begged the Spanish government for the documents back. They sent out frantic messages. It was a brilliant reverse psychology tactic that totally sold the lie. Because if the British were this desperate to get their papers back, the Germans figured the intelligence simply had to be real. Which brings us to part 4, Hitler takes the bait.
All that meticulous planning, the carefully curated pocket litter, and the frantic reverse psychology paid off the exact moment those photographed documents reached analysts in Berlin. The psychological manipulation was so complete, so perfectly tailored to what the Germans were already kind of expecting to find, that one of history's most paranoid dictators swallowed the bait hook, line, and sinker. Even Adolf Hitler personally reviewed the intelligence and bought it completely. As you can see here, the deception completely weakened Sicily's defenses. In the spring of 1943, Hitler totally reorganized his forces. He shifted troops, moved tanks, and sent aircraft far away from Sicily, sending them to Greece and Sardinia instead. By the time over 160,000 Allied troops landed in Sicily on July 10, they met significantly lighter resistance. This allowed a massive Allied force to secure the island and, without a doubt, saved thousands of lives in the process.
And finally, part 5, the power of deception.
When we really break down why Operation Mincemeat is considered one of the greatest intelligence feats in history, it all comes back to hacking human psychology. It wasn't just about moving military pieces on a map. It was about strategy. It was about storytelling. It proves that one forgotten man and a brilliantly constructed fake identity could effectively outmaneuver massive armies. In the grand theater of war, weaponized information can truly be more powerful than bullets. So I'll leave you with this final provocative thought to consider today. What does it mean for our understanding of conflict when a completely fabricated story holds the power to shape the modern world? Deception is an art form, and when executed perfectly, it can change history. Keep questioning what you see out there, and definitely keep exploring these incredible, unbelievable moments of the past.